Well, good morning, everybody. Hello. Hey, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. You are in our Stitchuation room. This is a Monday through Friday virtual sewing retreat, stitching retreat, quilting retreat, whatever you want it to be. And I hope I can inspire you to put something under the needle or at least motivate you. Hold on. Frida's trying to get by here. You're going to stretch first, sweetheart. All right. Let me move my computer so she can come back. I solved the cable problem from yesterday. Hold on a minute here. There we go. We had big issues yesterday with the cables, didn't we? Yeah, Frito. Nothing a trip to Best Buy doesn't fix, right? You want your little Dave biscuit? There's your sweet girl. Yeah, if you're brand new, this is our little rescue. Had her just a little over 2 years now. Here, you want your rawhide? Here, go brush your teeth. All right, bye-bye. Can you go? All right, good girl. Awesome, awesome. Lots of love and belly rubs there, sweet girl. Oh, she's gone in the other part of the house. Awesome. Good to see everybody here in the chat. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I appreciate you taking your time out of your day. I know a lot of you right now, it's really early in the morning, and you're just sitting there with your coffee and waiting for your day to get started. It's a nice way to start the day. A lot of people will put this on replay and just have it going in the background while they're doing their stitching. All right. Abby and Snoopy say hello. I love that. Yeah, that's really sweet. I see that some of you are going to be coming to Indiana to go to the retreat this week or next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. I leave on Saturday, and then Sunday is just kind of a get ready day. Harriet and I are going to get everything together at the retreat center, and then we go Monday and Tuesday. That's going to be cool. So, yesterday was busy. We had the Brightly Sampler block of the week yesterday at 9 a.m. and got it done. There it is right there. Didn't this turn out pretty? Beautiful block. Just gorgeous. Pretty. See that? Love this. Some of my favorite colors in the whole quilt. The hard part on this block is not so much the square and a square as it is getting these straight so that they also look like a square. So that's the challenge on this particular block. But if you nail it, you give yourself a big pat on the back for sure. Nice. It's nice to take pleasure in the little things in life, isn't it? So if you're brand new, let us know in the chat. I have a sunshine committee wandering around somewhere, and I keep hitting my table leg. So y'all wouldn't believe what happened yesterday. It was so funny. Thank you, Nan. It was so funny. So I had this also is the Brightly Sampler. It's the exact same. See this block here? It's the same as this block. So I made a companion quilt out of a different line of fabric. This is a block of the week, and this I just got busy on and made the quilt. So I was going along on this, making and getting the binding on it while it was on the long arm. So I have a method where I like to put my binding on while it's on the long arm because I don't like to wrangle quilts. Excuse me. Hold on. You missed it? Oh, well, sorry, Peggy. I only made one boo-boo and had to undo just that last little seam, but then I got it right. So I'm glad you made it back safe. This is Peggy's first live. Welcome, Peggy. Glad you're here. She says not her first view. She's been lurking, but her first live. What is the fabric on this one? This fabric is from a line called Farmstead by Stacy East Shoe for Moda. And y'all, on our store site, powertoolswiththreadstore.com, I listed all of the scraps from this fabric for sale for $15. And then you have to pay $7 in shipping if you want it. Okay, I've only got one, and it's on powertoolswiththreadstore.com. You may have to go to shop and then all products, and it'll open up and this will be there. But this is 2.8 0.37 pounds of fabric, okay? And there have been pieces of cows and whatnot fussy cut out of the fabric, or like barns and whatnot. So I'll have the barn. This is all a fat quarter bundle, right? And I might have cut a barn out of it. So on these, but you still have another good chunk right here. So this is Farmstead by Stacy E. Shoe for Moda. And there is a 25-inch uncut piece that I put in here of the background fabric. A little over half a yard. That's a deal, y'all. 15 bucks for all of this. So plus $7 in shipping. And I will get that out in the mail to you. I'm going to start doing that. When I finish a quilt, I'm going to take my scraps from that quilt. You guys, I'll never use this. I have got so much fabric in my stash. I'm going to go ahead and put them on my store site. And then if you want them, you can have them. So that's the way I'm going to do that. And that's a good way for me to get things out of my stash to go from one loving home to another. I do not want to throw them away, and I don't want to donate them. Okay. She says it'll be gone before I finish the live. Probably. There's so many people who collect these kinds of scraps, and we'll put them into who knows what, you know. I mean, you can do a couple of table runners and you know, snack mats and all kinds of stuff with this. So yesterday I had this on the long arm, and when I do my binding, I start on the right side and I went down and over. And the other day we made the binding together. We did a little binding video, how to make binding. And I got across the top, and I was using my binding bowl from Harriet's daughter. Oh, it's over there on the long arm. That's still over there. I was using that, and I pulled the binding across the top, and it stopped about that far from the corner, and it still needed to turn down the side. And I was like, yipes, I'm short one strip. What do I do? So it's a good thing that I had laid it out ahead of time to make sure it was nice and flat and everything. And because I'd only stitched about this much across the top on my right corner, well, right here next to where my machine is. So I cut another strip of binding, and I pulled that strip over here, and I had to get my machine with my Husky table. I scooched it way over here by the long arm. Got that sewn together. Oh man, the things we do. If I didn't have the machine right here, I would have just sewn it. Oh, did it sell already, Sharon? Thank you. All right. My watch has not told me that we've had anything do that. So that way, normally what I will do is I will sew it using the long arm, right? I can hold it still and put a ruler on it, so I'm a 1/4 inch away right in that little V, and sew it down right on the long arm. But it was determination. Yeah, I got to get that done. So if you are brand new, we have a virtual kitchen, and you're in the right place. Don't feel like there's another website. Just wander over there, and on your way in, there's a thumbs up button. If you would hit the thumbs up button, I'd appreciate it. Scotty Dog is running the kitchen, and usually Barbara makes sure there is tons of coffee. So we are, there's usually some chatter going on in there. So just kind of keep your eyes peeled. All right. And if you are watching on a TV, grab that TV remote and hit the channel up button. That gives me a thumbs up as well. My thumbs up went way higher when I started mentioning to do that with the channel up button. It's amazing because a lot of people are watching on TV going, I don't know how, you know, and then somebody told me that. So it was a pleasure to share it with you. Okay, so yesterday, when I was doing the Brightly sampler, we were talking about doing a square and a square and sew and flip corners and all of that. And I pulled out a couple of different methods to square up your blocks, or not to square them up, but to trim your blocks so that they would fit. You've got these, you know, pieces here. They need these 4 in the corners, these half square triangles right here. They needed to be trimmed up to 3.5. And I grabbed a couple of different ones. I grabbed my clearly slotted perfect trimmer. I grabbed a folded corner clipper and another ruler. Now, And the way I used the folded corner clipper to square the block worked just fine. And that is one thing you can do with it. Somebody left a comment, you're doing it wrong. No, you can square up your blocks. Not square them up, but trim them to the right size using this particular tool. But I watched a couple of videos. I was like, I'm bound and determined to get the smart on how this ruler works. And it's great. It's a great ruler. Glory gave this to me. She's in here somewhere, usually. So Glory gave this to me and a couple of years ago, and I've never used it. So here's my thought. Darn it, that wheel on my chair, I'm turned just right. So every time I try to belly up to my table, I'm hitting. There we go. All righty. So great ruler. First of all, great ruler. And it's by Creative Grids. And it's, if you look up videos on how to use the folded corner clipper, you'll love it. It just opens up a whole new world. Now, my problem with the folded corner clipper is this has you cut on the bias before you stitch. And then you use the points of the fabric from your clipped dog ear up here down to this line, whatever, as a invisible 1/4 inch guide to sew. I am not a fan of sewing on the bias without enough fabric sticking out from the other side of it to keep it, keep the weave from doing its thing. Also, when you cut off this first, when you cut, so you're doing a sew and flip corner, right? I'm gonna pull this up. This, Charlie gave me this. Maintain the integrity of the base shape. I say this all the time. All right. So when I do my flying geese, all right, if I cut off what's underneath, you know, because you have 3 pieces of fabric. When you sew a square on a rectangle on the diagonal, now you've got 2 pieces of fabric together, right? And then you fold this point over, you now have 3 pieces of fabric. And when you're folding that other piece, the top piece over, if you cut what's underneath before you fold it, you don't know where to match the point to. So there's no way to maintain the integrity of the base shape because that one corner of the base shape is gone. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, do one yourself and you'll see. I should have pulled some fabric over for a sample. But I do this all the time. I like to have, I say this all the time too, when I see where people will, you know, they'll get ready to do a sew and flip and they'll sew that 1/4 inch seam and then they cut the 1/4 inch and then they fold it over and press it. I don't know where I'm pressing it to. I want to make sure I press it to the corner of the fabric of the base shape. But if you've cut that away beforehand, it's a crapshoot. That's just me. Yeah, I'm not a fan of sewing on the bias with only a 1/4 inch edge, okay? And I'm not a fan of, because I've tried that. For a decade, I tried that, and I never had really good success with my points on my blocks until I waited to fold that fabric over, press it exactly so it matched the base shape fabric first, right? So what started as 2 by 3.5, when you finish with it, it's still 2 by 3.5. It's just 2 different fabrics. So if you don't know where that's folding over to, and you just fold it and cross your fingers, you may or may not get it right. And what's really funny, I was watching a video and I was watching a video on this thing and the lady drew the line. This is supposed to keep you from having to draw your lines, right? So the lady drew the line to show the old-fashioned way. And then when she placed her block on the base shape, on that rectangle for the flying geese, she had the larger part of that half in the corner. She hadn't marked it, and it got turned around. I was looking really close at that, and I was like, she's got that block backwards. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people are going to use this, and it's going to work fantastic for them. There were a lot of folks in the chat yesterday who really, really love this ruler, and that's great. You do you, boo. That's what we do here at Power Tools with Thread, to find the method that works best for you and celebrate that for everybody so that all of their blocks turn out nice, regardless of the method they use. We do not shun methods that don't work for us, right? Try to help everybody. So that's my take on the folded corner clipper. Anyway, let's see. I haven't used Doug Lako's folded corner rulers. I have not. I love his patterns. I got a really nice letter from the Department of Interior. I've never gotten a letter from the Department of Interior. I donated a quilt that I made. It was Doug Lako's, and it was called Memories or something. It was a Christmas quilt, and I donated it to the Chemawa Indian School through the Daughters of the American Revolution, and got recognized at state conference, Texas State DAR conference last March for doing that. And then got a nice letter from the Department of Interior for donating that. They had 163 quilts come in, and the kids all got to pick the quilt that they wanted. And they had a nice ceremony and, you know, snacks and juice and that kind of thing for the kids. And it was really nice. So anyway. Now, see, Patty says the folded corner clipper ruler, she likes to use it to join her binding ends. She likes that because she doesn't have to draw lines. Y'all, I don't draw lines. I just put those pieces perpendicular to each other, face to face, and sew diagonally from the valley to the rooftop. And I make sure I've got this, this diagonal seam tape on the bed of my machine. So it's not a benefit to me to do that. Right, whichever way works, right? Whichever way works. Thank you, Cindy. She says the blocks behind me are lovely. This line is Strawberry Lemonade from Sherry and Chelsea. I thought this would be a fun, happy summer quilt. Very nice. Okay, so today I want to get my binding finished on this quilt right here, okay? Let me get this fabric out of the way so that it can find a new home and stay folded up pretty. And I'm going to put my mug over here on this thing. So yesterday I did put the binding on it. I have an appointment at my chiropractor's at 11 o'clock, and this is going to be going with me to switch out on her wall in the waiting room. So that's why I need to get this done. So that was the whole point of doing today's. I have work to do. I've got on my Choose Your Weapon shirt. Okay, so I've got a little bit of sass going on, and I'm bound and determined I'm going to finish this thing. I also made my hanging triangles on here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and sew these in. I don't know if this will ever be a cuddle quilt, but I'll just go ahead and sew them in. So, all right. One thing I need to do is to get these pinned into the back of the quilt or clipped in or something so that they don't move around while I am doing this. So I want to show you guys, if you've never seen this, if you're new, this is just a square of fabric. Okay, just a square of fabric. And this one's 9 inches. I don't know how wide this quilt is. I'm just kind of winging it. But I'm going to be hanging it with a hang it dang it, so it'll have a rod. The hang it dang it, you just screw in the center and it balances, is how it works. That's what's on her wall. I put that there. And then these need to get put in. So I'm going to get these placed properly on this quilt. I don't think I need 5, I think, or 6. Because the Hang It Dang It has a center hanging point, you cannot put a hanging triangle in the middle of the quilt. So I'm going to turn you guys around. You never know what's going to happen here. Let me turn you guys around. Hold tight. Whee! All right. I'll probably just use pins. Right? Where's my pins? There we go. So I've got 4 hanging triangles here. These are 9-inch squares. And then the top of the quilt, this is directional. The whole quilt's directional. Yep. I'm glad I put the backing on in the right direction as well. So this is the top of the quilt right here. And when I do this, I just usually put the end triangles about an inch from the corner of the inside. And that way I don't get a bunch of bulk in the binding in the corners. You don't want that. So I'm going to do these first and put this on. Now I sew my binding on from the front. So I've already sewn it onto the front with the long arm. I can't see y'all's comments, just FYI. And I put a pin in the middle and a pin on each end. And then when I'm done with this, all I have to do is just do a little tack right here on this corner of that tip. And I'm all done. Now I'm going to put these, I'm going to bury the tip of the pin inside of the quilt so I don't poke myself while I'm doing this. There. All right. And let's see. Now on this, you're going to have a closed edge and an open edge, right? Just like a napkin at lunch. Okay. And you take the raw edge and put that up inside the binding. So I'm going to put the closed edge toward the outside. That's what I did here. This is the closed edge and this is the open edge. Nobody sees it. It's against the wall. And so then I'm going to put the other one over here. And you just want to make sure that you get them right up with the edge of the quilt. And then just enclose it. So easy. I learned this tip. Somebody sent me a video of Laura Koya doing this from So Very Easy. Oh my gosh, changed my world. Because there's nothing worse than a hanging sleeve. Nothing worse. Having to put that on, ugh. I've even gone so far as to stitch on a hanging sleeve in the top and use heat and bond to adhere it on the bottom edge because I just don't like doing that. Okay, so there's that one. And then I've got 2 more. And I want to put these, oh, not center. Where's center? Center is right there on that little mark. Okay. So if center is right here, I'm going to put this right here. Perfect. See, there's no math to this, just what happened here? I need to straighten this out. Hold on a minute. Where's my little ruler? There it is. I got something chunky going on here. That's not cool. What happened? There we go. That didn't need to be there. Isn't that funny? Just a little bit of this will cause your binding to look wonky. Crazy. There we go. That's better. And get this done. So yeah, it was nice yesterday to get this back on the long arm, get the binding on, get it off. And I did some more cleaning around here. Made big decisions about my scraps. I'm going to be going around and getting more things out of my sewing room because I have way too much stuff. Way too much stuff. And I'll put this one about right here. Y'all, I have fabric that's like you. It's 20 years old. You know, I know you've got fabric that old. Tell me how old your fabric is. How old's your oldest fabric? Leave a comment below or put it in the chat. Tell me how old your fabric is. You know, and I was going through some drawers yesterday and I found stuff I forgot I had. And I'd already done a declutter on those a couple years ago with you guys. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is this? And where did it come from? I found stuff I didn't know what I had and put it in a donate box. These are little notions. I'm like, this isn't even a sewing notion. I don't know why it's in my room. Okay, so this is done. These are ready now to be sewn on into the binding like that. And then I'm going to put one of my little tags. Y'all, I get my labels at Dutch Label Shop. I'll put that in down here. I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in. I'll put a clip to remind me to put my tag on, my label on when I get done. Okay, now I'm ready to sew this thing. We've got half an hour. You think I can get it done? I think I can. Let me turn you back around. Cords, cords, cords. Goodness sakes. Not my favorite thing. All righty. These tight quarters here keep me from gaining weight for sure. Oh, you have fabric from 1966. Oh my goodness, Ruth. Is it still in good condition or is it threadbare or, you know? Can I roll that over any farther? Yeah. Oh. Oh my gosh. I can't believe how old y'all's stuff is. I can believe that. I need glasses, y'all. All righty. So I watched a video yesterday too on, again, using that stripology ruler because I was cutting some stuff and y'all were like, stripology ruler, use that. That was on the, was that on the Brightly sampler or was that this one? I did 2 lives yesterday. So anyway, it was nice. I got it out and I started messing around with it. So these hanging triangles that I just made, I made those using the stripology ruler. But I watched, Gudrun has a really good video on how to use that thing and went through and looked at that. So when we do the sashing, I've got one more block to do for this quilt back here, one more week. And y'all, I forgot to mention it yesterday. If you are doing the Brightly Sampler quilt along with me, next Monday, I'm not doing it because I'm going to be in Indiana. I have my weeks messed up. So I will not have a Brightly Sampler block of the week next week. I didn't mention that yesterday, and I need to make sure the folks that are there know that. So we won't have a live. But, my goodness. What do I do with all the feed sacks? Oh, you're talking to somebody else. Yep. I am trading my luminaire, you guys. It's official. I am going to be getting an Avenir from Amy Sews on the ship. She's bringing an Avenir for me on the ship. So on the Sew and Sail cruise, that's 24th of May through the 8th of June for me. How does the rod go through the triangle? It's pretty simple. I'll show you. I'll show you how it works. Really easy, because I don't know if I'll get to hand sewing this today. This is the only hand sewing you'll ever see me do. So I already have a knot on that. Good. How does the hanging triangle work? So I'm going to sew it from the front, stitch in the ditch. Okay. What's the name of the hanging triangle system for? There's no system. There is no system. That's how simple this is. You cut squares and you fold them twice into triangles, right? And then you put the raw edge up inside the binding and you sew the binding closed. I sew mine from the front. I'll show you that in a minute. Then this, you just take, hold on. Okay. And you just do 3 little stitches is all you need to do. 3 or 4 little stitches and just tack this tip down. Don't go through the front. Okay. All right. One more for the knot. Hold on. I'll do this one more time. So I did 3 stitches and now I'm doing a little tiny knot stitch. All right. So all I've done, I just threw that needle around. I see it. So all I did was tack down this. The rod goes through here like that. That's all it is. The rod goes through there. So I have 4 of them on the top edge and the rod just slides through those right here. It doesn't go into the folded edge of the fabric. Yeah, that's the only hand sewing you're ever going to see me do. All right. So let's get this. I have so many of these threads that are up from the shred. Let me get this needle up and put it back over here. I got lots of thread. It needs shredding. Oh my goodness, y'all. I don't know why I had so much thread on this binding strip that it just fell apart. I don't know why. Okay. Yeah, some people sew the folded edge closed. You can. Nobody's going to look at it. I don't get all wound up about that. Doesn't make a hill of beans one way or the other. Clutching your pearls, Peggy. It's ugly too. That's why I didn't get real close for y'all. It's an ugly, ugly thing. Don't look at it. Okay. Oh, you got your quote for the King Quilter. Oh, good, Tammy. Hey, Tammy, send me an email with that information if you would be so kind. I would like to share that with them. They give me credit. When you say thanks to you, they give me credit for that. So I'd appreciate that. If you would, powertoolswiththread@outlook.com. Send me an email for that. If you would be so good. All right. I need to switch out my foot. Where's my screwdriver? I have a hang it, dang it rod. Yes, I do, Margaret. Yes, hang it, dang it is the name of the rod. I've got them in my Amazon store. It's amazon.com/shop/powertoolswiththread. It's in my quilting favorites. It's hang it, dang it. It's a great system. I learned about it from Joy Bernhardt. She has one. She loves it. Got me into that. It's nice because you can just do one screw. Don't use a nail. Use one screw right in the center, and then it's just a rod, and it telescopes. So they've got big and small. I've got a big one that came in. I can show you what that looks like. Let me show you what that looks like. If you're lucky and you've got a seam, you can stitch down with the machine through the center if you can get it on a seam, and you'd never know. Let me get that hang it dang it rod. I'll show you what that looks like. Spin it around. It's in my other room over here. This is the extra large. These are for big quilts. So when I take the scarecrow quilt, oh geez. When I take the scarecrow quilt in to hang it, it's going to have to go on this big rod. There's popcorns. Hold on. What is that, Frito? This is for big quilts. Uh-oh, hold on a minute here. I got little green popcorns, y'all. What is it, Frito? It's not food, silly girl. You silly girl. Okay, there's your instructions. All righty. So this is wrapped up, but these ends telescope out. And there's your center hanging thing. And you just put a screw in there in the middle. And it hangs straight because it balances the way it's supposed to. So this one goes from 63 to 104. This is a great way to hang quilts. So you only have to put your hanging triangles on the back, right? I want to open this up, show you guys. It's taped on this end. Where's my scissors? Oh, I don't have any here. Let me see here. There. Oh, this clips comes. So this is really cool because, okay, let me, oh, you can see that. Okay. That pops off and flies across the room. Okay. And then, oh my goodness. So you mount this in the wall. Okay. And then you can pop the rod in and out and change out your quilts. And then this just pops back on like that. It's so easy, so easy. And this is a nice heavy duty one. Very cool. Those are so handy, y'all. That's a hang it, dang it. Uh-oh. I got a red light, I think, on my remote on that. It should be okay. Oh, you use a command hook? That's smart. So the command hook is heavy enough? Yeah, they're great. They're great. Whoever invented that was brilliant. Once you get the hanging triangles on one side of the rod, how do you get the other? Yeah, the rod pops out of the holder, Kim. Yeah. So you pop the whole rod out off the wall, okay? And then you just slide it in there and pop it back on. Super easy to switch out your quilts. Can I stay on until I finish the binding? Well, I better get going, huh? So let me see. Now, all I do, you guys, is just fold the binding over and I'm stitching in the ditch from the front, and that's it. Okay. And I just make sure that the edge has covered all the stitching and whatnot from putting the binding on, so it looks nice and clean. Okay. And I've got a ditch foot, an industrial ditch foot on here. I'll let you guys see what I do. Well, actually, before I do this, when I get to the corner, so my favorite method to do the corner is to I'm coming down here. So the side I'm turning to, and it doesn't matter which way you do it. I just will take a pin and put that in like this. And then I make sure to fold that pretty miter beforehand. And then I'll show you the pinning up close. And I go in here and pin the miter point exactly where I want it. So that's how I pin the miter, just like that. So it's nice and pretty. Okay, it looks all done. And I try to do that 10 or 12 inches before I get to the corner. Okay. So now I'm ready to go here. And there is no easier method to bind a quilt. Some of you enjoy hand sewing, and God love you. That's not me. That is not me. Okay, very careful. Don't hit the pin. Go right into the corner. I can see down in that hole. And then I pull this pin and turn it. I have a knee lift, which I love. All right. And then I use my stiletto from my husband's seam rippers. This is why I use the stiletto. And I'm going to help this quilt go. Right? Okay, good. So that just anchored in that corner. And when I get enough room, I'll pull the quilt up and show you what it looks like. Don't hit that pin. All right. So now I'm stitching the hanging triangle, this one, on. There's the center. It looks like strings, but it's wheat wisps. This is my favorite way to do a binding. Oh my goodness. If this was a family heirloom, like I've done a couple of quilts where I have hand bound, and you guys, that isn't me. I've got arthritis in my fingers. I just don't care for it. All right. There's the corner, all done, nice and pretty. Very pretty. And I didn't have to hand stitch that, okay? And it's not about, I mean, some of it is the time, but I just cannot, I just can't, it would take me days to bind this by hand. Because this is, again, I hate wrangling quilts. Right? I'm just making sure the toe of this foot is right on the edge of the binding, and that the backing is around the back side. It is pulled over that stitched edge. Yeah, you can do this in less than half an hour. So I've shown you how I do a corner. Only pin or clip one side at a time. That way you aren't getting jabbed. Oh, I just tuck my pins. I don't even use pins, as you can see. The only reason I'm using pins here is to make sure that the hanging triangles don't shift as I sew on this. Because they will want to shift around on you when you're not looking. But all the rest of the quilt, I don't use pins, or I used to use pins or clip. And when I first started doing this method, you guys, I used Heat and Bond Light or Featherweight. You can use Elmer's glue to glue down the back side if you want and have it all even. But theoretically, if your binding strip is the same width all the way, you know, I use 2.5. I did miss a piece of the back on one of the hangers. It's open because I had a jinky jank in the stitch in the thing. Yep. And I'll go back and fix that. Okay. So this does happen. You do miss pieces. It happens. Just go back. I just go back and fix it. And to me, so when I get finished, I inspect the whole back and make sure that I got everything. And what I did and I fixed, and it's still way less hours than it is to stitch by hand. I don't mind that a bit. I've gotten better at it as the years have gone by. And I can really tell when I'm sewing, I can hear it. That was where I did that trimming. There was something wonky going on there. And I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so I've got a little bit left here. Now I'm going to make sure that I've got my threads all tucked in. My miter is, I'm going to fold this corner down and then get that nice and pretty. Point exactly where I want it. We don't want any piggy noses. It needs to be a pretty point. Okay. Let me know if you put the binding on by machine, if you're a convert like I am. And again, if you still do it by hand and you enjoy that, that's wonderful. A lot of you like sitting in front of the TV and spending time. It's peaceful, good for your brain. One, I do it because, again, the physical, but the time, oh my goodness. Okay, my hanging triangles are on. I need to get right in the corner, one more stitch right there. Good. Knee lift and turn. I got a text from my chiropractor reminding me of my appointment. I've already set an alarm for the watch lady to tell me. All right, so now that I've got the hanging triangles on, except for that one little part I got to go back and fix. Yeah, here it is. So they're on. Yeah, I got that one little part right there. I got to go back and fix that. I want to get this in camera. And then I just have to, and you can put this down with a little safety pin if you don't want to stitch it. You can always do that too. So now it's off to the races, just to go around the other 3 sides of this. Okay. So as I go, I'm going to trim up any little extra threads as I see them. I like to do that so I don't have to go back and look for those. Just cover it, make sure it's over all the way, and we're ready to go. See how fast that is? Oh my goodness, y'all. Now, I like to use the knee lift and lift it up. I have the machine set to stop needle down. That's important. Okay. And just do 6 to 8 inches at a time. I like to raise the presser foot to allow the fabric and the binding to relax so it doesn't get pulled through faster on the bottom than the top. I do this method I learned from Islander Sewing Systems. Let me see if you can see it from this angle, where I do thumb under, fingers on top, and roll it. And what that also helps prevent the underside from being pulled through faster than the top. I learned that from Janet Prey. Her mother used to work in industry and the garment sewing industry. And this is what they do in industry because they don't have time to use pins. Thank you for your thumbs up, you guys. I appreciate that. You will whiz through your quilts with this method. And this quilt will be finished before I go to my appointment at 11, which is nice. I don't have to worry about it. Okay. Oh, it just fell off the table. I hate that. I've got drag now. Hate this. This is why I put the binding on the long arm. Okay. It is better on my fingers. I have done this with the 2 1/4 inch binding, and I'll do 2 1/4 on small things. Let me show you guys what this looks like up close. But it's easier on my hands with 2 1/2 just to make sure I've got enough binding around the back side. Y'all, these are not show quilts, okay? These are not. These are utility quilts. And I would never do this on a quilt that was going to be entered into a show. Some judges don't care, but this is how I roll when I make my quilts. And this is for every day, hang up in your doctor's office kind of quilts. The foot I am using is an industrial ditch foot. It's for high shank machines. I got it from kensewing.com. And it has independent suspension, if you will. It's got a spring on it that allows half of the foot to sit up on top of the binding, and the other half of the foot holds the quilt tightly to the bed of the machine. I'm on the long side here. Just take your time. I saw Pat Sloan was trying this method. It was a year or so ago. She was giving it a shot. She likes to put her quilt on from the back and roll it around to the front and sew it down. That's another method when she binds by machine. And so she was giving this a try. She was kind of on the fence about it the last time I saw her do it. It's been a minute, but it takes practice. Again, I don't need pins or clips or glue anymore because I've been doing this for so long. I got it. Yeah. But you do miss spots. I will give you that. You do miss spots. You have to go back. That's a Baptist fan for the design. Yes. Quilting with Harriet suggested I use this. Giant Baptist fan. Here's my corner. I got all these extra threads. I'm going to trim these. You can tuck all the extra threads just right inside the binding. You don't even have to trim them if you don't want to. I just got a bunch here. What are all you guys doing? All these threads. Ugh. Okay. Tuck everything in, fold it over. Of course, on my binding strip, one of them had to end right in the corner, right? That always happens. Yeah, that's a good method, Betsy, is to fold, sew them to the back and fold over to the front. A lot of people do that. A lot of people will do like a wavy stitch on a binding from the front and give it a decorative finish. That's pretty too. I'm going to get this, got a tricky corner here. Okay, one more stitch. One, oh, half a stitch. Let me go down to 1.5. There. Okay, turn it back. That's a trick too. If you've got half a stitch left, use your stitch length on the machine versus, you know, trying to tug the quilt. Use the stitch length on the machine to just go down to where it needs to be, and then keep going. So that way, yeah, decorative stitches are pretty. Did I catch that? I did. Yay! Love it. I'm on side 3. Although side 1 was pretty. I only had a little bit there before I turned the corner. But a lot of people will go ahead and glue this down and iron it and press it. And that way you can ensure that the amount of binding edge on the back is even. So you're not shallow in some places and thicker in others on the depth of the edge of the binding to the edge of the quilt. Perfectly fine to do that. I don't go through that. I just fold it over about the same amount over the edge of the stitch line of where the binding was put on. And cross my fingers. You lost your internet again, Bernadette. Oh, you poor thing. Girl, you need to move. Come on. Man, we went over a lot of stuff. Hanging triangles, hang it, dang it. All kinds of info today. You never know. Let's see. I want this thing finished. Oh, I've ordered from Amazon on the road before too, sailing. That's handy. They've got those Amazon lockers. That's so handy, or, you know, regular delivery points. It's usually some little cell phone repair shop or something like that that you can do. So I hate it when they're late on delivery though, and we're in the RV and I move before they get there. Oh, I'm coming up onto the part with my label. Let me show you guys my label before we go. Oh, this is coming out pretty. Binding is on. Let me switch cameras here. Binding is on, you guys. See, I've got a little bit of a flap. I've got a lot of overage. That's because my fingers, I don't like holding it tightly. That's my choice to do that with a little bit of extra binding around the edge. The novice has no idea that that is not preferred. So I don't get all bent out of shape about that. Anybody looking at the back of this quilt and thinks different, fine. I don't care. So my labels, I have some iron-ons and I have some sew-ins. And yeah, these are my sew-ins. They're from DutchLabelShop.com. Just little power tools with thread. Has a line on the back, and I'll put the year. That's really all I need to know. So I could put a big old quilt label on this thing, but I'm not going to bother with that. So thank you. I like the binding design too. It just turned out, it's turning out just beautiful. Really is. Very, very pretty. To get this on, I'll zoom in. And if we have some missed spots, you guys are going to point it out and go, ooh, look. Okay, so here it is from the front. Just stitched in the ditch. That binding foot just does such a beautiful job of shoving the top over just a tiny bit so you cannot see, right? It looks great. And then the back, you have a little bit of extra, but that's my choice. Yeah, I need to put a link. Yeah, Diamond OESD have a event today. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, the backing fabric is adorable. I thought this was so, so cute. Oh my goodness. I had to be sure because it's 2 pieces and I pattern matched it, but I had to be sure that I got them the right so they weren't, you know, that they were both up like this and not like that. Awesome. Well, you guys, this has been a lot of fun. I'm almost done with this. And so it's going to go, I'll take a picture of it at the hanging on the wall in the office and in the waiting room and show that to you guys tomorrow. So thank you so much for spending your time with me. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to spend more time together. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning, bright and early, all right? 7 a.m. Central. We switched to 8 a.m. Central on May 1st. All right, we'll talk to you soon. You guys go sew something. Bye.